Let me say something that many professionals, leaders, and business partners have felt but rarely say out aloud. You saw it coming. You raised it, you documented it, you presented the data, you made the case clearly, professionally, and more than once. You pointed to the gaps in the financials, the shifts in the market, the cracks in the systems, the change in staff behavior. Unfortunately, you were met with resistance, dismissal, silence, or worse, you were told you were being too cautious, too negative, or simply not a team player. Welcome to Transformational Tuesday. Today's message is for every person who has been the one in the room who saw the risk and could not get the room to move. Here are a few realities about shared leadership. Documentation matters. We established that last week. Here is what the conversation about documentation really includes. Documentation is only as powerful as the people who are willing to act on it. When partners, co-directors, senior managers, or even board members do not see the risk or choose not to see it, documentation becomes a record of warnings that went unheeded. Execution stalls, support is absent. The very systems designed to protect the business becomes powerless because the people who need to enforce them are either unaware, unconvinced, or unwilling. Teamwork requires all team players, not most of them, not the willing ones, all of them, operating with the same level of awareness, the same commitment to honest review, and the same willingness to act when the data demands it. When that alignment is missing, the person who sees the risk is left carrying a weight that was never designed for one person to carry alone. I want to speak from a place of professional experience, with care and with full respect for the complexity of what I'm about to share. As a consultant, I have sat across from clients and presented findings, recommendations, and risk assessments that were grounded in data, experience, and genuine concern for the outcome of their work. I've done my part. I have fulfilled my professional responsibilities. I've delivered what was requested, and more than once gone beyond the brief to flag what I saw coming. I am very mindful that clients have the right to choose. That is not a flaw in the consulting relationship. It is the nature of it. My role as a consultant is to advise, to assess, to recommend, to equip. It's not to execute on behalf of someone who has not sanctioned that execution. It is not to override the autonomy of the person or the organization that engage with me. It is not to assume that my recommendation is the only valid path forward. What I can say with both humility and honesty is this: when recommendations are set aside, delayed, or dismissed, and the very outcome that was flagged arrives, it is not a comfortable moment for anyone. Not for the clients, not for the consultant. It is a moment that calls for reflection, not retribution, for learning, not blame. I share this to acknowledge the very human reality that hindsight is painful, that sometimes the most professional thing a person can do is deliver the truth clearly, document it thoroughly, and respect the client's right to decide, even when the decision carries risk. Understanding where professional responsibility ends and personal ownership begins is one of the most important distinctions in any advisory or leadership role. Whether you're a consultant, a co-director, a senior manager, or a team member, there's a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from seeing the risk clearly and watching others move toward it anyway. You keep raising it, you keep documenting it, you keep presenting it. You try different approaches, different language, different timing, still nothing moves. This is one of the most professionally and personally draining positions a leader can occupy, because you're not just managing a business risk, you're managing the emotional weight of knowing what is coming and being unable to stop it. Many in this position begin to question themselves. Am I wrong? Am I seeing something that is not there? Am I being too cautious? Here's what I want you to hear clearly. You're not wrong for seeing what others have not yet seen. Vision is not arrogance. Foresight is not paranoia. Raising a concern is definitely not disloyalty. The data doesn't lie. The patterns do not change because they are inconvenient. The risk does not disappear because it is not acknowledged. There comes a point in every person who has been in this position that knows exactly when it arrives where you have to make a decision. Do you carry the weight of the journey that others have chosen not to carry, or to correct the course? Or do you take the steps within your authority, put what protections you are able to put in place, and make peace with the reality that not every outcome is yours to prevent? This is not defeat. Stepping back when you have done everything within your power and professional remit is raising the alarm. To raise the alarm is not failure, it is discernment. It is a recognition that your health, your clarity, your integrity, and your future are worth protecting, even when the business or the partnership is not. Some wake up calls are personal, some are organizational. The painful truth is that not everyone receives your wake up call at the same time. Some receive it too late, some never receive it at all. You cannot force someone to see what they are not ready to see. You cannot carry the weight of an entire organization's blindness on your own shoulders without eventually breaking under it. It is not healthy for you to do that. If you're currently in this position, here is what I encourage you to consider. Continue to document everything, not to prove a point, but to protect yourself and to fulfill your professional responsibility. When the outcome arrives, your documentation becomes your evidence that you raised the concern, fulfilled your role, and acted with integrity. Put protections in place methodically. If you can see the blow coming, prepare for it within your capacity and your remit. Do not wait for others to act before you take the steps that are yours to take. Know your limits, that there is a line between persistence and self-destruction. Pushing past that line does not save the business. It only costs you your health, your peace, and sometimes your sense of self. Choose your next step wisely, whether that means continuing to advise, restructuring your involvement, or stepping back entirely. Do so with your dignity, your documentation, and your integrity intact. Many businesses and projects fail not because the risks were invisible, but because the people who saw them could not get the people who needed to act on them to move in time. That is a painful reality. The person who tried to prevent it carries a particular kind of grief, not just for the loss of the business, but for the loss of what it could have been. The relationships, the potential, the vision they believed in enough to fight for. If that is you, I want you to hear this. Your effort was not wasted. Your foresight was not wrong. Your care for the outcome was not weakness. It was leadership. It was integrity. It was a kind of professional courage that is rare and worth preserving for what comes next. Not every seed you plant grows in the soil you planted it in. And seeds, remember, germinate in varying conditions and time frames. In closing, have you ever been in a position where you saw the risk clearly and could not get the necessary people to move in time? How did you navigate it and what did you learn? Please share in the comments. Your experience may be exactly what someone else needs today to make a difficult but necessary decision. This message is shared from a place of professional experience and genuine care for those navigating complex leadership realities. It is not a reflection on any specific client, partner, or organization, past or present. I am Trisha Carrara. Keep encouraging yourself and know when to protect yourself too. Join the conversation. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Find transformational truths on all major platforms and keep encouraging yourself.